All right,
Sure.
we're going live. You got 5 seconds. And we are live. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Let me pull it up on my other phone.
I'm trying to start the watch party.
Yeah, Johannes, if you want to do a watch party, you're more than welcome to, or you can share after live, whatever you're convenient with. I don't know if you have Facebook.
Yeah. What do you mean a watch party?
So if you go on our Facebook page, you can actually hit share. I believe it's share. Is it share,
Yeah,
Jenny?
you
How do you
hit
do
share.
it?
Yeah, you hit share,
And
and
then
then it'll say like share watch party, and it will say some other stuff.
Sure.
And then you can just share it on your page. So what I usually do is I just let it share, let it sit, and then I don't even pay no mind to it.
So did everyone have a good weekend? Oh, wait, it's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Our last past episodes were on Sunday.
Nice.
So does anyone have any plans for this weekend?
I mean, I had the pop-up shop today. That's it. And then I got
church. You're in Cali, so it's still early for you. Do you have any plans
Yes.
for tonight?
Well, I'm about to go grocery shopping after this. So I'm trying to get on a better eating plan. So
you know what?
A little healthier. Good.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that, but I'm still gonna eat my seafood and soul food, and
right.
I'm gonna try to work out.
Yeah.
Try.
Yeah.
I'm in preparation for next summer right now.
Nice.
I've been saying that the past 3 summers. So
you don't even want to know what my dinner was. You don't want to know what my dinner was, and it was the first thing I ate all day.
Oh no!
You already ate that? It's 6 o'clock.
I haven't eaten anything all day, so I came in. I was supposed to get food, but I had to be here to prepare. So I was like, never mind.
Okay.
I had waffles.
We're gonna go ahead and get started. Well, thank you, viewers, for tuning in to Uncommon Women. I'm Chaniera.
And I'm Jenni Lee.
And we have our guest speaker, Johannes, today. He's going to be joining us in regards to our topic on emotional baggage. Before we get started on emotional baggage, we want to just let you know who we are and what we do and what Uncommon Women is about. So we're an uplifting podcast. We uplift women and men. We're here to educate and edify anyone. And then just, spread the positivity in the world. There's so much negativity that's going on. So we just want to bring a different approach in regards to our perspective on things that can help people that's going through stuff behind closed doors, and also educate people. And then we also give people a platform to come on and share their businesses as well. But today we're going to be doing a little bit of teaching as well as testimony. So before we get into that, Jenny is going to start us off with a bio about Johannes.
Mm-hmm. Johannes Atlas, a motivational speaker and founder of Speaking to You, the UNU organization, and pressing towards the Mark event. Johannes was born with Poland's syndrome. As a child, had many difficulties, but overcame them. Johannes became ambassador with the Riverside Chamber of Communists when he started in business. His passion has always been to serve others.
So thank you, Johannes, for coming out and being a guest speaker with us today. Is there anything that you wanted to touch base on besides what she went over in regards to your bio. You said you're going grocery shopping. So do you like to cook, or do you have a maid or a wait? Like what's going on over there?
You said a
I ain't
maid?
there yet.
You said
I
a
ain't there yet. I'm
maid?
working toward that. That's next level stuff right there.
Okay, so those are goals for 2021.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I mean, a meal prepper or somebody, but but yeah, thank you for having me on today, though. But yeah, so growing up, I wasn't very conscious about my hand until about high school. And so whereas, in high school, everybody wants to fit in and be cool. And so because I wanted to, fit in and be cool, so like you said, I have Poland syndrome. So you can see the difference in my hand here. And for those who may just be listening, my right hand will literally fit in the palm of my left hand. I didn't, like I said, I wasn't conscious about it until about high school. And so, of course, everybody in high school, everybody wants to fit in and be cool. And so because I wanted to fit in and be cool, I hid my hand in my pocket all the time. And I mean, when I say all the time, I mean all the time. And like, unless I wasn't doing something where I needed two hands, my hand was always in my pocket. And it's just from being teased and being made fun of that, I hid my hand, and it literally just felt like a prison to me. And so it wasn't until after high school I wanted to grow, because I was tired of doing that. I was tired of just having to feel that way all the time. And so I ended up getting involved with this finance company. And though it was finance, we more so taught about leadership and self-development. And so between that and speaking at church was where I kind of got the inspiration to want to become a motivational speaker. But being involved with this finance company, I got involved with the Riverside Chamber of Commerce, as you had said. And business 101, with the Chamber of Commerce, they teach a lot of business principles and whatnot. So business 101, you look somebody in the eye, you give them a firm handshake. And some people give a firm handshake. I mean, when I say a firm, I mean a firm handshake. And they squeeze the crap out of my hand. I'm like, relax, you see it's little. But yeah, I was literally nervous to get into business because of that. Like, I didn't want to be reminded of the faces and the reactions that I would get, but I did it anyways. I really wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And so it wasn't actually until this past May where I was really feeling stuck. And so I was, I prayed, I'm like, Lord, open my eyes up to me beyond the limitations of my understanding. Because if there's issues that are going on, it's something that if there's issues in my life, I'm the only one that can resolve it. So, like I said, I prayed. I'm like, oh, Lord, open my eyes up to me beyond the limitations of my understanding. And it was probably about within 2 weeks after that God had opened my eyes up to what I had made those moments of when I would get teased. It was what I made them mean about me that affected me so much. It was the identity that I put behind it. And so in those moments, I made it mean that I'm not enough. As a person, I made it mean that to me, about me, that I'm not enough. But when you really look at the moment, from a camera's point of view, when you really look at that situation, nothing in that moment means that I'm not enough.
Right.
But it was what I had chose to make it mean at that point. And so as God had opened my eyes up to it, I had to, like I said, see what it was, and then stop and say, no, that none of that means that I'm not enough. And then I reaffirmed that I am enough. Who I am as a person, I am enough. And so it was literally just in that moment that was the switching point for it all, really. To like, since then it was just I felt so free from that moment. After that moment, it was just these invisible changes started coming off, and it was incredible. And so also I don't have any chest muscle on the side of my body, and so this summer I actually went to the beach for the first time and swam with my shirt off. Whereas, it sounds, very minuscule for some, but I mean, for me, it was a breakthrough. I mean, to never, it was just a very self-conscious thing. Exactly.
Until the angels came and just broken those chains off of you, then you're
broke them right off.
Yeah. I can hear them breaking off.
Yes, they just fell off at that point, and it was so freeing. There was just so much more peace at that point.
That's awesome. So where did you what encourages you to be a motivational speaker? We'll get into the emotional baggage portion, but what encourages you to be a motivational speaker?
Yeah, so I'd always kind of had a heart to serve. I've always kind of been like a voice of counsel in a sense for a lot of my friends growing up. And so I've always just wanted to help. I remember like sometime in elementary school, I was just talking to my friend about this earlier. I remember like the moment that in my head as a kid, I said, I want to be a counselor. like, I don't remember the specific day and all that, but I remember, like, through my eyes, I remember that moment. Because like I said, I always just kind of like help people and stuff. Always having the heart to serve, growing up in church. And like I said, so between with that finance company, they, like I said, they teach you a lot to believe in you. And so from between hearing that and, like I said, going to church every Sunday, and just seeing how people are hurting, and seeing that, how life is just affecting people, on a day, every Sunday, seeing people, go up to the altar and crying, and just dealing with some of the things that they're dealing with, like it touches my heart, because it's like to see the things that people are dealing with, it's like, wow. And so it's like, if there was anything that I could do, it's just, I want to be able to help somebody if I can.
That's awesome. So what tips can you give in regards to freeing ourselves from, the chains of life in regards to emotional baggage?
So, let me say this. So the difference between choice and decision.
Okay.
So choice has a free will to it. Choice is choosing something because that's what you want, and for no other reason but because that's what you want. Choice has no considerations. It's like it's a free will. It's just, like I said, it's just choosing it because that's what you want, and for no other reason but because that's what you want. Where decision, on the other hand, decision is picking something dependent upon what the situation is. It's picking something with consideration. So, I wanted to go to Harvard, but, I don't have the money, or I wanted this car, but I don't have the credit score. And so I'm going to go with something else more suitable for this specific situation. And so a lot of times it's, we get, as people, we can kind of get caught in, with what we have, or, with what's going on in life. It's, we think that this is it. Yeah. We think this is it. This is how it has to be. But when in reality, it doesn't. It's like, who said, when we look at a situation, it's like, who says that it has to be this way? And so let me add another analogy to that. So life is God just, he be giving me ideas and stuff. It's just downloading. It's crazy some of the stuff he gives me, but it's so it's life is so life is like a grocery. Life is like going into a grocery store. But let's say you've never been to a grocery store before. You have no idea what it's like. You don't know what goes on. So like I said, life is like going to a grocery store. And so you walk in, and immediately people start giving you directions. People start telling you what to do, telling you how it works, giving you instructions. So you grab your shopping cart and you start, walking down the aisles going shopping. And again, as you start walking down the aisles, people are throwing stuff in your cart. Hey, recommending this, and you should get that, and telling you, you should buy these, and just start putting stuff in your basket. You might get a couple things that you want, but for the most part, people are just recommending you stuff and telling you, what to do and what to get. And so by the time you go to the checkout counter, you end up with a basket full of stuff that you didn't ask for. Stuff that you didn't ask for, nor that you probably didn't want. You might have a couple of things that you want, but for the most part, it's a basket full of stuff that you don't want. And at the end of the day, you end up paying for that. We end up paying for all of that at the end of our shopping experience. And so we're driving home, and as we're driving home, we're trying to figure out, with everything that we bought, what am I going to do with this? How is this going to work? How is this going to play off the other? And where am I going to put this in my house? And we're just trying to figure out how we're going to organize it, and what we're going to do with it, what we're going to make our life with what we've just received from this grocery store. Yeah. So we go home, and we start putting everything away, and then people come over and they criticize you from the things that you got and what's there, and not realizing that, hey, I didn't ask for this. And so it's the point of it is realizing that, hey, I can go back into this grocery store and exchange all of the things that I don't want for all of the things that I do want. And so then that way, when I go home, I have a better idea of what I'm working with, of what I want, and how I can make life work better with this. And so a lot of it is just it's that point of realizing that this does not have to be this way. Whatever it is that people are dealing with, so for me, it was the point of I don't want to have to live like this anymore. And then it's being ready for that as well. But it's really a point of choosing what it is that we want, having that free will, and choosing the things that we do want, not just because it's been handed to us, or not because we think that this is what we're supposed to do, but choosing the things that we want because that's what we want, and for no other reason but because that's what we want.
Okay.
I like that analogy.
So do I. That's deep. That's deep.
And then I see it as, and then you get home, with all this stuff that people, you know, thought that was good for you. And you got to realize, you know, just because it's good for one person doesn't mean it's going to be good for me.
Yep.
And I think
Exactly.
that's where a lot of people, you know, we mess up in life because it's like,
Hmm.
oh, well, I took this road, or I brought this. If we're going to speak on groceries, where I brought this, that, and the third to make this, and it was bomb. And it's like, it's more
Hmm.
than one way that you can make something.
Exactly.
Right.
But
Exactly
everybody,
You
that.
gotta find what works for you.
yeah,
Exactly.
it does. Everybody's healing is different,
Hmm.
and everybody's path is different. So yeah.
Yeah. And then it's even like within that, it's, you know, choosing what you want, irregardless of your past. It's like, you know,
Mhm.
just because like sometimes, you know, growing up in a, let's say, you know, growing up in the hood, you know, you don't, it's a lot of times it's, you know, we don't have the idea of, you know, hey, I can, you know, have a multi-million-dollar business.
Right.
Just,
Mhm.
it's just sometimes like that idea doesn't even, that we don't even think that that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just, you know, it's at a point of also educating ourselves, and then, you know, making it a point to, you know, believe these things, and but choosing our beliefs, because that's what we want, choosing what we want for our life. And so it's like a mix of, you know, believing that it is, but then, you know, introducing yourself that, hey, it doesn't have to be this way.
Mm.
Yes, and stepping out of your comfort zone, you know, just because you were brought up a certain way, it doesn't mean that you can't branch out and do more than one thing and still stay true to you.
Mhm.
Right.
I think
I
a lot of people back down to trying new things because they're scared of failure.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And sometimes you just have to step out of the box.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And if that box doesn't work for you, try another box
Yep.
and another box. You know how
Hmm.
many boxes I got from Amazon? They're like,
Well, you too.
but in all reality, you know, you can try more than one box. It does not
Mhm.
always have to stop at just one box, you know.
Right.
And
Mhm.
I think a lot of people, you know, not necessarily, even if you're grown, if you were grown up raised in the hood, even if you were raised in a good area, you know, step outside your comfort zone and try
Hmm.
to build a relationship that with someone that was raised in a poverty society, you know,
Mhm.
see what they went through, and then maybe you guys can bounce off of each other, because just because they were raised in a different atmosphere doesn't mean that you can't educate each other.
Yep.
Right.
I totally agree with that. Yep. Totally agree with
Right. Yeah, that's right.
that. How does our emotional baggage affect us?
You know, because so it's kind of like a lens, really. So it's like, you know, you think of it like a, you know, a lens for, you know, for a picture off of Instagram.
Mhm.
And so it's, you know, it's at that point, it's our baggage is it becomes like an identity. And so,
Mhm.
like, for example, you know, my identity was that I'm not enough. That's how I saw through. That's how I saw life through the lens of my eyes, was that I'm not enough. And so I would try to, for example, you know, I would try to make up for it in various ways. So I used to be, you know, very arrogant, and you know, it would affect how I would treat, you know, people in my ex-girlfriend. It would affect how I would treat her, in just it's just various ways. And it's just, you know, kind of think about it like that. It's imagine like putting on glasses, and whatever the baggage is for the individual, that's how we're seeing life, is through
Mhm.
the lens of I'm not enough. And so it's at that point, you're then trying to make up for the lack, or make up for, you know, what how we're feeling. And so it's, you know, everything that I do, it was, I would, you know, introduce myself in a certain way that, hey, I'm not enough, or I would act in a certain way to show people that, hey, I'm not enough. And it affects us at a subconscious level, because we don't even realize that we're doing it.
Yep.
And so it's, and that's the that's the crazy part. But it's like other people see it, but we don't. And
Right.
so
Yep.
yeah, yeah. And so that's like the thing right there. It's you know, it's just a lens that we're seeing our life through, and how we interact, and how we be, and not even be by ourselves, but be around other people, and in every way of life, really.
I agree. And I think we gotta also come to a point of our life where um, you gotta stop beating yourself up, because it's not going to happen overnight.
Hmm.
And if you know, change those thoughts into something positive on a consistent basis, it will eventually stick.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
You gotta like fake the funk until it happens, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
But I think, you know, like a person, for example, that's always speaking negative, you know, they're so used to speaking negative, and it's to the point where they don't even realize they're speaking negative
Mm-hmm.
until it's approached upon them. So in order for them to change that, they would have to literally speak positive over their life every day consistently to break that cycle, to break that chain.
Nope.
But
Right.
they got to be consistent with it, because it's not going to just happen overnight.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, because it's like
So
when
why
you
do you feel as though you actually carry the emotional baggage?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
So why do you feel like we actually carry the emotional baggage? Like, how do we get rid of that when a person does have something that's like weighing heavy on their spirit, and they're trying to get rid of it? How do we move ourselves away from carrying that emotional baggage?
Yeah, so it's like why we carry it, like I said, because we whatever that moment or those moments were that occurred in our life to make us, you know, attaching that whatever it is that we have made it mean at that point. So again, for example, you know, I had made those moments of getting teased mean that I'm not enough, and so it's you know, going back to, you know, that moment or those moments for the individual, whatever the situation was, what have we made it mean? And it's that point of realizing that we made it mean something. Because if we don't, it's you know, if we don't, you know, realize that we've made it mean something, the identity just stays there. And so it's like a point of learning to re-identify with something else. And so it's like because it's like I said, you know, we don't even realize that we do it. And so again, you know, because, you know, that's we've done it so much, it becomes who we are. And as people, we like to stick to what we know. And so because this is what I know and this is who I am, this is what I've been doing, I'm just going to keep doing it. And so it's like at a point of a certain point has to come when we realize, hey, this is going on and I don't like this. I'm not liking what's going on. I'm not liking how this is making me feel. I'm not liking you know, how I'm interacting with people or how this is affecting my life. And so at that point, the desire to want to overcome this has to kick in. I mean, a lot of this is just awareness. It's a lot of awareness. It's like, you know, being aware of what you're feeling on the inside, and, you know, why am I feeling this way, and what is this coming from? And it's a lot of those suppressed emotions that has to be dealt with. And so that's the thing, because we don't want to deal with it, and so we push it off for so long, and so, you know, it's still there at a very subconscious level. But we don't realize it is because we, you know, push it down so much, and, you know, we've chosen not to deal with it and not to feel it. And so, but that's the thing that has to be dealt with is those feelings that we've suppressed.
Okay.
And so, and so it's like in dealing with that, and like I said, and what's the identity that we've attached to it, what we've made it mean about ourselves is the thing that's got to be dealt with.
Mhm.
That's deep.
Yeah.
You bury it. That's so true.
Yeah. So Johannes, how did you release your emotional baggage?
It was within that moment when I was like, God opened my eyes up to me beyond the limitations of my understanding. And like I said, you gotta be careful what you pray for sometimes. but yeah, it was literally that moment. Within that moment, I was ready. And that's the other part of it. You know, when we pray for stuff, we have to be ready for what we're asking for. You have to be, because it's like, because it's like figure. I mean, because you both you guys have children, so it's like, would you give your kids $1 million right now?
No,
No.
they're not ready for it.
No.
Exactly that, because they're not ready for it. And so exactly, that's kind of like how I picture, you know, that's kind of like how God sees it. It's like, if they're not ready for what they're asking for, why would I give it to them? Because it's only going to destroy them. It's not going to do them any benefit.
Yeah.
And so in that, it's the willingness to want to deal with, or to see what is. It's the willingness to see that. And it was, I feel like that prayer came so quickly. It was, like I said, it was like a week and a half to 2 weeks after I prayed it, he answered it. I think that's what it was just, I was ready. I was ready for it.
But he
I was
also
truly
seen
ready for
something
it.
inside of you that he felt as though you were ready as well.
Yeah.
He met you there.
Yeah. I was like, whew, that's a lot, Lord. All right.
I mean, sometimes then when we feel like when we're all ready, it's kind of scary because you're like, wow, like we're ready. And then that whole relief is just like a whole burden just off our shoulders.
That's so true. And have you ever noticed when we ask for something and we're not ready? And I don't know if anyone else notices it, or maybe it's just me, but I've noticed at times when I ask for something and I'm not ready, and it's not all of what I asked for, it's just a little piece. He gives us just a little piece to be like, oh, okay, we're going to give you just a little bit to see how you can handle it. And then like you get that joyfulness when you do handle it the right way. And then sometimes you gotta reevaluate your life when you don't handle it when you handle it the wrong way. And I think that's where a lot of people may get stuck at times.
Yeah.
They get so focused and caught up in what went wrong, you know? Instead of trying to look at everything as a perspective, as a teaching or a lesson or just a learning or a stepping stone in regards to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I think that plays go ahead, Johannes.
Oh no, I was gonna say, but yeah, no, it's like, it's that, or for me, like I'll be praying for the longest, and like months go by, and I'm like, Lord, I know you hear me. But yeah, it's just that, it's just I wasn't ready. But yeah.
So speaking on that, how do our choices play into our baggage?
Yeah, so it's our choice, because again, it's really like at just the emotional baggage. A lot of times it's at a subconscious level, and so kind of going back to how it affects us. Because like I said, so we imagine like you putting on these glasses. So me putting on these glasses of I'm not enough, me seeing through the lens of I'm not enough. I'm taking actions and making choices through the lens of I'm not enough. And so it's certain things that it'll be certain situations that coincide with trying to show that I'm enough. That will that'll end up with an action to actually show that, hey, I really feel like I'm not enough.
Yeah.
It's little subconscious things that we do, and like again, we don't even realize that we do it. Other people may see it, but a lot of times we don't even realize that we're doing it.
That's so true.
That is. Especially when you catch yourself doing it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. I guess it happens to everyone. So it's just, I guess it's just part of us humans when we get to that point where we have emotional baggage, and sometimes we don't notice it. And then when we do notice it, we're just like, oh, we need to deal with that.
Right. Yeah, I think sometimes that's like the real gut punch right there when it's brought up to us by somebody else, and it's like, oh, you're right. Okay, I do need to deal with this.
But sometimes people have pride and be like, where'd that come from? Pride can hinder us from being accountable for things that can release us from the baggage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's I know exactly what you're talking about.
And we all came a long way. I'm sure me and Jenni have times in our life where we could be prideful, especially as being parents,
Oh, yes.
He checked me and I was like, did he just pulling me on me?
I mean, I admit I still can be prideful, and I mean, I'm still working on that. That's something that we just gotta like work on and grow from it. And yeah, it's not easy. Like Chaniera said, being a parent and being prideful, it's a little hard. So yeah, we're a work in progress. So yes. Johannes, can you give advice on how to let them go on emotional baggage?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, when you go home and you lay down and you're by yourself, and those feelings and those emotions start coming back up, it comes with the willingness to want to deal with it. It's like you got to be willing to deal with it, deal with those emotions, deal with the past, and whatever it was, we have to be ready to deal with it. But then in dealing with it, it's we can't, it's like, in a sense, sometimes we have to like take the emotion out of it and to look at the, like, as we reflect back on the past, on the moment, the situation, as we reflect back on it, it's sometimes we have to take the emotion on our part out of it to see what was, because sometimes okay, so for example, now that I look back on my moments, I realize kids are just being kids. And especially, it's not something that you see every day. So yeah, people are going to be curious. People are, it's teenagers being teenagers, people are going to make comments, and it's going to be what it is. But it means nothing about me. And so again, that's where the point, I had to take the emotion out of it. And it's like, none of that means that. As what I made it mean about me, it's none of that means that. Or sometimes it's seeing the perspective of the other person. Sometimes it's getting to know maybe what the other individual went through. It's somebody that may have put us through something. Sometimes it's seeing what they have gone through to cause them to do what they did. Not to say that it's okay, but to bring a little bit more understanding to the situation.
Yes.
And so it's like I said, so it's in that, and in just being willing to deal with it and ready to let go. And you were kind of touching on it a little bit earlier, Chaniera, is about it's, you got to give yourself time, be patient with yourself in it all, because it's not, sometimes it doesn't always happen overnight. It's not always going to be a quick thing. I mean, configure, if you, for example, if you've been dealing with your baggage for 15 years, it's not going to change in a day or
another
two.
15 years.
Exactly.
That's so true.
So it's like, that's the thing. It's like, we have to be willing to be patient, and also as we identify what we've made it mean about ourselves, and we affirm the opposite. So again, I've made it mean that I'm not enough, and then I've affirmed that I am enough. Whatever the new affirmation is for you, we've got to be willing to remind ourselves of that choice, remind ourselves of how we are now re-identifying ourselves. And so over time, it'll embed itself into your mind, and you then take off the glasses of before and put on a new one, a new set. And it takes time, but you just got to be willing to be patient with yourself and dealing with it all.
I agree. What is some of your thoughts and reasonings as to why people pick up the same baggage or emotional baggage over and over again, knowing that it's not healthy?
Yeah, I think sometimes it comes from just some of it could be just the mental training of the individual, but it's sometimes we don't realize that we have choices, or we don't realize that we have choices in our emotions, in our actions. So let me start with the emotions, actually, because that's really the main thing. Is we have these emotions, they don't have us, we have them. And so in that, it's choosing our emotions wisely. So it's like, though a moment may cause you to, a situation comes up that will cause you to be angry, it may very well be a good time to be angry. But in that, you don't have to choose to be angry. You can still choose to be peaceful in a hostile moment, or in a moment that may cause you to be angry. And so in that, it's in those moments, it's when new moments come around, and it's choosing the emotion wisely, and dealing with that.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean, but in like I said, in just dealing with that, in dealing with, like I said, with these emotions, like from there, it's as we're feeling, a certain thing come up, or the past, how that situation before made you feel, as it's coming back up, we have to recognize it and say, hey, I recognize that I'm feeling this way, and I don't want to feel this way, and then now choosing a different emotion moving forward.
Yes.
That's good. What is some things that you do personally to sorry, I felt like it was echoing. What are some things that you personally do to remove the emotional baggage?
For me, what I personally do is, like I said, kind of going back to identifying what I made it mean, and then, you know, seeing it's like, well, why does it have to mean that? You know, what is it that I would rather it be? And you know, choosing what I want moving forward, and then again, just reminding myself of those choices from that minute moving forward as often as I can, because a lot of it is just it's the willingness to the desire to want to be aware as often as possible. It's a lot of awareness. It's a lot of awareness, like awareness in your mind and your feelings and your emotions and like what's going on. And when you're feeling a certain way, why am I feeling like this? Do I like that I'm feeling like this? If you know, then okay, well, how would I rather feel? And then just moving forward from there, and then choosing the feeling, choosing the emotion that I would want to that I want to feel, and reminding myself, you know, again, though a moment moving forward, or though a moment is, though I'm like, you know, feeling, you know, I'm a moment's causing me to be angry, you know, no, I don't want to feel this way, and it's choosing that emotion moving forward. But sometimes it's because some of the things of the past, it's some of our baggage comes from it's some of it's our parents' baggage, or you know, the people that we've grown up with.
Right.
Because if you consider as a child, you are an empty vessel. A baby is an absolutely empty vessel. And so if a mother or a father has a certain baggage that says, you know, I'm not enough, or I'm not lovable, or I'm not this, or I'm not that, the child is going to subconsciously learn to think that way. And so sometimes it's seeing the things that I've, you know, how I'm being. Where did I learn this from? Because I don't like, you know, like, again, I'm aware that I'm acting like this, and I don't like that I'm acting like this. Where did I maybe learn this from? And so then, hey, I learned this from, you know, my mom or my dad or my cousin or my sister. I learned this from somebody. And then it's that point, like, hey, I don't have to continue to be this way. How would I rather be? It's really it's a lot of just like self-talk, but then within that, it's really feeling it. It's not just okay, I'm not feeling like this, you know, I don't like feeling like this. It's intentional conversation, but I'm like really feeling it's a serious conversation within myself as I'm saying all of this. It's like you know, you got to be like real with yourself and confront. I have to confront myself, because it's a lot of the willingness to let go of my ego and a lot of it too.
You made yourself. Go ahead, Jenni.
I said you're just holding yourself accountable. Because you're trying to break basically the cycle. You're trying to break that cycle, because, you know, if you end up being stuck and then you have children and you're just passing that along to them as well.
So you're saying that there is a possibility that emotional baggage can be a generational curse?
Yeah. It absolutely is. It absolutely can be. I'll say that. Not all of it is. Some of the things are things that we've learned from ourselves. So so it's another analogy.
Yes, that's good.
So our body is like a house. And so your physical body. So we are a spirit that possesses a soul that lives in a physical body. Like how you see me as Johannes is not Johannes. This is just a physical representation of Johannes. But this is not me. So sometimes it's also the willingness to disconnect from my physical body to get to learn to know who I really am. But like I said, our house is our body is a physical house, and then inside the house is your soul. And what goes on inside of a home, what goes on inside of a house is what makes a house a home. So it's like, ideally, would you rather the inside of the house be be immaculate and the outside be, you know, kind of whatever, or would you rather the outside be immaculate and the inside kind of, you know, be a mess? When consider you spend most of your time on the inside of the house. So it's like, personally, you know, I asked a lot of people this. A lot of people would rather have the inside be immaculate and let the outside, you know, kind of be whatever, but over time let the outside reflect what goes on the inside. So within the inside of the house, you know, you have a lot of different furniture and you know, just everything that's in the house. Some of the furniture is not yours. Sometimes, you know, people come over and they leave stuff there, and you know, some of it's, you know, your parents' furniture, and you know, sometimes it's really just a lot of soul work. It's a lot of work with dealing with what's on the inside, and so it's, you know, moving stuff around and getting rid of some old furniture, and you know, it's just identifying with what's going on the inside of the house, and you know, where did this come from? who brought this here? Or do I want this here? I don't want this here. Okay, let me get rid of this. So it's just, like I said, just sometimes, it's like dusting and sweeping around and cleaning up the inside of the house. It's a lot of that kind of work is what, the idea of all this is.
Okay.
I like that. That was the interesting. Jenny, did you have any questions?
I have a question. How can you tell if someone is emotionally like unavailable? Like, I mean, I don't know how people can see through people, but I know it depends on the person, on how they act and how their character is.
Mm-hmm. So in the Bible, it says, out of the mouth speaks the abundance of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sometimes you can tell by people's conversation. Like we have to sometimes take the time to really listen to what people say, to the words that come out of the mouth, and people will tell on themselves.
Oh, you tell it like it is. You let a person talk, let them talk. They'll tell you who they are.
Exactly. And so exactly just that, it's sometimes it's just, listening to them and seeing how they interact in certain ways, and people will tell you what you need to know. And sometimes it's just asking the right question as well. Sometimes just asking the right questions, and you'll find out.
Direct,
you can
being direct as well. That was good. That was real good. Is there anything that you would like to add, or anything that you wanted to share that we didn't speak on? In general, anything that you would like to maybe pass on to others that can potentially help them in regards to emotional baggage, or just any advice that's on your heart?
Yeah. One more, another analogy here. I'm telling you, God just be
This is like story time.
Right?
I love it though.
So you figure when you so it's kind of like dealing with darkness. Everybody has their own form of darkness that they deal with in whatever way, shape, form, or fashion that comes up for them. So when you walk into a dark room, you first identify, hey, it's dark in here. I need some light. And so now keep in mind, darkness is the speed of light. As quickly as light comes in, darkness leaves the room. Mm-hmm. And as quickly as light leaves the room, darkness will come in and take its place.
Okay.
By nature, this happens. Okay. And so when in dealing with, first you identify the darkness, you see, hey, it's dark in here. I want some light. You don't focus on trying to, you're not like, oh, get out of here, darkness. Like, no, nobody does that. You don't focus on trying to push out the darkness. Rather, sometimes it's a matter of focusing on bringing in the light, and by its very nature, the darkness will leave the room. And so whatever kind of like issues or struggles or things that we're dealing with, sometimes it's like we focus so much on we focus on the negative and the thing that we're dealing with. We focus so much on the trial, the struggle, the whatever, rather than making it a point to say, hey, I don't want to be like this anymore. I would rather feel like this. I would rather things be like this. And then try to look through that perspective. It's like trying to put on that lens of look through that perspective of, if things were like this, how would I feel? How would I be? How would my life be? And just bringing in the light, focus on bringing in the light and stop focusing so much on the darkness.
Okay. I like that analogy.
That was good. That was good. That was deep, but that was good. That was good.
But I got one more for you. So,
5 minutes.
I gotta make it. I'll make it a little quick for you. So
I'm just messing with you.
So the other part too is because a lot of it is sometimes we don't feel like that we have control in our thoughts within our mind. A lot of people feel like we don't. It feels like just natural we don't have control, but in reality we do. So it's like kind of in our thoughts and our thinking, like it's kind of like in our thinking, our thoughts are like going to an open mic night. Have you ever been to an open mic before?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it's got like our thoughts. It's like going to an open mic. thinking that you're at a concert. So obviously, at a concert, you just sit there and listen. You don't get up on the stage and try to sing your heart out or nothing. You just sit and listen. But rather at an open mic, you have the opportunity to get up and say something. You have the opportunity to get up and say what's on your heart. And so rather than being at the concert in our mind, rather than just hearing and believing all the thoughts and things that people say and the thoughts that come to our mind, rather than just believing and hearing all of that, we have to eventually make it a point to realize, hey, I do have control up here. I have control up here, and I have the say so on what goes on up here. And so it's the point of realizing that, hey, I'm not at a concert. I'm actually at an open mic. Let me get up on the stage and say what I have to say. And then say what I have to say, grab the mic and say what I have to say, and don't get off the stage. You stay on that stage and you say what you want to go on in your head. You brainwash yourself, like in with what you want to be brainwashed with. We're all going to be brainwashed with something. Might as well brainwash it with what you want it to be brainwashed with. So that's the thing. Just get up on the stage and don't get off. And so it's taking control of your thoughts.
That was real good. Did you have another analogy?
No, I think that's all I got.
I was ready.
Yeah,
on the edge of my seat over here.
I think they haven't been coming as much because on my part, I told God, I'm like, as you give it, as you tell it to me, I'll give it. And I haven't been doing my part, and so shoot, I got to start sharing more. And so now, I'm sure more will be coming soon.
That's awesome. Good. That was good.
Thank you.
Well, it was real good. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. Is there anything that you have coming up that you would like our viewers to know?
Yeah, so on YouTube, so I'm actually, like I said, I'm making this all into a program. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit of my notes up here. But I'm making all of this into a program, and
got any good notes over there? What's that say?
Yeah. So you gotta wait for the YouTube videos.
Some of your notes.
I'm writing that down right now as we speak.
Just kidding.
No, but I'm gonna be, like I said, making all this into a program, and I'm gonna be putting it on YouTube. I'll have it out, or I'm gonna work on some. Hopefully, I'll be finished by the end of the year. So beginning of next year, it'll be out and ready to go. You can just look up my name, Johannes Atlas, and you'll at the beginning of next year, and you'll see all the videos there. And
okay, so it's the Johannes Show 2021. That will be
No, it's really just kind of digging deeper into all of this and really just getting down and more of the how-tos and kind of certain different things that didn't have all the time to get into.
Awesome. And then maybe next year we can bring you back on and we can talk about some other things.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that is dope. I like how you're putting it into because YouTube is the perfect channel to do it at, because everybody's always looking at things and finding things, and you putting out all that in there, you would definitely, I already see it. I see it just being a platform for you.
Thank you.
And I'll subscribe,
Oh, me too.
So before we close out, there is one question we do ask all of our guest speakers. And that is, what makes you uncommon?
I think what makes me uncommon is my thinking. I have like a defiant nature, not in the sense of, defiant, just acting out and stuff, but I kind of go against what, people say it's this way. It's like, well, why can't it be a different way? And kind of just, I'm very open-minded to, things being a different way. And just like I said, it's really just in my thinking. I feel like is what makes me uncommon. I'm not I'd say I'm not your normal 26-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, Johannes. It's been a pleasure.
We have fun.
Yes. I hope that our viewers can take heed to this and take an understanding and your analogies as well. And thank you. It was a pleasure. And I hope your YouTube channel like I said, it's going to be your platform, and I hope it really reaches those all over the world.
It will
Thank
reach
you.
all
Oh, it
the
will. Let me.
We're going to
Thank you,
speak
Chaniera.
that into existence.
Yeah.
It will.
Yes. Thank you,
It
Chaniera,
will
for the
go
correction.
regional, then national, then worldwide. We're going to plant those seeds. We are planting.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I receive it. I receive it. I receive
Yes.
it.
Claim
Thank you.
it.
Thank you, Chaniera and
Yes.
Jenni. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank
You're
you for allowing
welcome.
me to come on here. I really do appreciate your time as well.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jenni.
Thank you for tuning into Uncommon Women. You can check us out on our website, www.uncommonwomen.net. That's where we also have our merchandise, where we sell our self-love shirts, our vests, our mugs. Also, if you want to also find us up on www.uncommonwomenlipson.com. We're also on other platforms, as in IG, Twitter. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and as well as I'm stuck. I'm sorry.
Google Podcasts.
Google
And
Podcasts.
other, streaming apps.
Yeah, other streaming apps. We're basically in every platform. So in other words, if you have any topics, questions, you can email us at commonwomen.com podcast@gmail.com. And if you have any business owners that want us to advertise them, you can also email us on, so where we can advertise. We're also advertising business. If you know any business owners or any guest speakers that want to come on, email us as well. And check us out tomorrow. We're going to come on live again, and we're going to talk about toxic relationships with Chaniera Parlor. I think I'm saying her name right, but I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. And she's also going to speak on domestic violence as well.
So viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and please remember to stay uncommon. All right, let me end the live on Facebook.